Welcome everyone to the Project Management Podcast at pm-podcast.com. And once again, we are coming to you live from the 2016 PMI Global Congress in sunny and very warm and humid San Diego, California. I am sitting here in the Solution Center with NK Shrivastava. Hello, NK.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
We want to talk about your presentation, Top 5 Warning Signs that Agile is not working for you. Have you already given the presentation?
Not yet.
Not yet. When is it up?
It is tomorrow at 12:45 p.m.
And any idea how many people have signed up?
Last time when I inquired, it was, I think, about 50 people or something like that. And it was even before the Congress started.
Excellent. Yeah, that's about the number that most people get in a Congress situation like this. Okay, so top 5 warning signs that Agile isn't working for you. Let's go somewhere totally different. Why do organizations even want to choose to implement Agile? What's the reasoning behind it?
So the most significant reason is about adapting to changes. Our world is changing very fast. The changes that happened last year were more than the changes that happened the previous year, and so on and so forth. So how do you respond to changes quickly? Agile helps you to respond to changes quickly. And that's why many organizations are adopting Agile so they can respond to their customer requests, they respond to the changing environment, business and other environments very quickly. That's what Agile provides.
Excellent. And these warning signs of trouble, what are they?
There are so many trouble signs. So if I start listing down, probably we'll have a lot. But through my experience of working in Agile teams, coaching Agile teams, training Agile teams, I concluded that there are 4 or 5 things. If you see those in your teams, then most likely you're not going to see the benefits of Agile. And I'll say if you're not seeing the benefit of Agile, then it's not working for you.
And let's also make it clear, this is not just your opinion, this is data-driven. You put out a survey.
Yes, we put out a survey, and also I have delivered this session in other platforms.
Yeah.
And I'll be doing a survey tomorrow, real time.
Okay.
As a
so
part
you get
of this,
additional data.
Yes, so
as input.
Real time, we will do this survey during my presentation. And I want to show that result to the people right away.
Okay.
And that will be an interesting thing. You can watch that. So yes, I have seen this, and I have also talked to the people, and I go in conferences and other places and work with teams, and this is what I have observed and collected information.
Okay.
And that's how I concluded these.
Okay. So we're going to go through these 5 warning signs one after the other. Is there any one of these 5 that is more dangerous or more important than the other?
So if you are asking what more important than the other, yeah, there is an importance. And in my paper that you will see, that is how they are listed.
Okay, so the first one we look at is the highest, the second is the second highest, and so on. Okay.
Absolutely. So the highest one is that no signs of value delivery for 3 months.
Yes. Okay, so the first warning sign is no signs for value delivery for 3 months. Can you tell us a little bit more about that one?
So one of the things that Agile does is makes an organization value focused.
Yeah.
So whether you are delivering value to the customer or not, and that is done through backlog. So you have items in the backlog that are, organized in a priority, highest value on the top, and then you start delivering. So if you are not delivering, then that value is not reaching to the customer. And Agile, if you use Agile, you should start delivering value in weeks rather than months. In some teams, people have to do some infrastructure work, some groundwork, and that may take some time, maybe a month, maybe 2 months. But after that, it should start delivering. If you are not delivering, then either you are in the churn process, like doing requirements, not doing it. Or there is, you have so big items to deliver that you are not able to break it down into pieces and deliver. So if you're not delivering, customer is not getting the value.
Right.
And that's the promise of Agile.
Absolutely. What do we do about it?
So what do you do about it is go look at your backlog and see how you can divide into smaller chunks.
Okay.
And see how you can deliver it, fully functional things that the customer can see. That's the key thing, and that's many of the teams are not able to do. They don't follow what is called as invest criteria for writing user stories, which says that you have to have small size stories, independent, valuable, and all that. So if you are not following the invest criteria, your stories are going to be large and dependent. And when the stories are dependent, then you say, oh, I cannot deliver this until I deliver that, until I deliver that, until I deliver that. It becomes a kind of a big thing.
Yeah, and you have to wait until all of them are done.
You have to wait until all of these things are done. So the teams do not know how to write good user stories. And that's a fundamental skill that need to be learned and practiced.
Yeah.
So that's one of the key things of not being able to do it. The other could be that some of the organizations have organizational issues. So something like that, nothing goes out to production unless it is 2 months in QA. So that has to go through kind of a thing. So the organization, old practices that inhibit that. So I need to look into that, why that practices. And the practices are there because the big chunks of software were developed and they were given to QA for testing. They needed more time. Now it is a very small chunk of pieces that go. You don't need 2 months in QA. They need to be looked into that kind of organizational practices and need to change that. So it's on one side learning the skill of doing it, other side looking at the organizational practices. Third side is even the infrastructure work. Do we need to do all of infrastructure work, or do we need to do only enough infrastructure work so that we can start delivering in iterations?
Yes. I have another thought. Maybe the project that you are doing is not suited for Agile. My example would be this. If you build a road, you can build 100 meters of road, deliver it. 100 meters of road, deliver it. So there's always some, and it's usable. People can drive on it. But if you do a swimming pool, you dig a hole, but can't use it yet. You put the concrete in, can't use it yet. You put the paint in, can't use it yet. You put the water in, finally you can start using it, right? So if you try to deliver the swimming pool in an agile way, there is no way. You have to wait until you're done. So maybe it was the wrong choice of methodology.
That's a possibility.
But it's a different discussion than what we are looking at right here.
Yes. Yeah. And Agile is not a good fit for everything.
Exactly.
So I have written a blog and all those, my little articles and all that. Is Agile a silver bullet? It is not.
It is definitely not. Yeah, neither is waterfall or plan-driven.
Yes.
All right, so the first one was no signs of value delivery for over 3 months. The second warning sign, teams resist change from the customer.
Yeah, that's another interesting thing I have seen is that the teams will not take changes from the customer, which is strange for an agile team.
And we're not talking about during the sprint, right? We're talking outside of the sprint with new feature requests and updating and changing. And during the sprint, yes, we don't want to change, but between the sprints as you are planning, it's fine.
Yes, and I think sometimes that also have seen that teams will resist change during the sprint, which is right.
Yes.
During the sprint. But the business environment could be that you need change more frequently than the sprint duration.
Okay.
That's possible.
Yes.
So in that case, you change your sprint duration.
Yeah.
So if you are doing a 3 weeks sprint and you're seeing changes,
cut it down to 2, cut it down to 1.
Yeah. So that's one thing. But so no, I'm not talking of that. I'm talking of that, team. Team including the team includes the development team, product owner, and everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't want to do this.
Yeah. No, the backlog is fixed. We cannot change the
Yes.
backlog. Leave the backlog alone.
Yeah. Backlog
doesn't work.
grooming.
Yeah.
Because backlog grooming is something that need to happen on a regular basis, and people, we don't have time to do backlog grooming. In some cases, I have seen even there are not product owners associated with the thing, so it becomes difficult. So that's the case where teams are doing agile, but not being agile. So they are doing sprints, they are doing daily stand-up, they are doing all of these things, but they have not internalized the mindset, or they have not.
They haven't really bought
Yes.
into the mindset. And is that the solution?
So
We have to go back to the values.
Yes.
We have to teach our team the values. We have to really go back there and say, this is what Agile is all about.
Yeah, and I think it's that, and also as human being, we don't like changes.
That's true, yes.
Nobody likes changes. So training us to not to be bothered about changes, I think that's very important. And agile mindset is about responding to change. So there's other one that the teams may not be empowered even sometimes to do the changes. So teams may want to do changes, but they may not be empowered to bring it in and work on their own. They may have some middle manager who is still controlling the team, and he may not let them. If the changes happen, then he may ask questions. Why did you do this change?
Again, not understanding the Agile approach. Yeah.
Not understanding what agile really means.
Yeah.
So doing agile but not being agile, I think that's the key part there.
Okay. So those were the first two. No signs of value delivery for 3 months, followed by team resists change from the customer. And we're moving on to the third one here. Teams are waterfalling their sprints. What does that mean?
So waterfalling means they do requirement in one sprint, they do development in second sprint, they do testing in third sprint.
Okay.
And that's very common.
Really?
Very common. People I have seen, we do for 10 user stories, we'll do requirements now, and we'll go and detail out the user stories. In next one, we'll pick up those 10, and then, so for 3 sprints, we have not delivered anything.
Yeah.
And then after third sprint, we are delivering everything. So I will say that's better than waterfall still, but then it's again, you are one of the things why in Agile you do full delivery in one sprint. The reason behind it that you want to cut down on the waste. So if you find problems in something that you developed today, you can fix it much more efficiently than if you find it 6 months later. It's difficult to fix. It's more costly. So that's why it is required to develop and fix everything within that sprint, and show it to customer too, and even put it in production too.
How do you get the teams from the mindset of, we're doing, the requirements definition in the first sprint, then development in the second, testing in the third. How do you get them from that mindset to the, no, you got to cut down, only do 3 in one sprint, but bring them all the way to the end? How do you get them there?
So that's again training, coaching mindset.
Okay.
And also telling a why behind it. Why you need to do this.
Yes.
And one of the significant thing why you need to do is to be more efficient, reducing waste in the process. So if you are fixing something quicker, that it will be faster. So what if I wrote a code today, and I came to know about that some issues with the code today. It's very fresh in my mind. I know exactly what I did today, and I can go and fix it very quickly. Same thing if it is told to me 2 weeks later. I may not remember it.
Yeah.
What did I do?
Why did I do that?
Why the hell I wrote this code? You may think about that. And that generates waste. And think about 2 weeks later, if you tell me the person who wrote the code may be assigned doing something else or may not be there with the team. Sometimes happen. 2 weeks is smaller, but let's say you tell about 2 months or 6 months later. That's a problem. The more time spent between developing the code and testing it and delivering, more rework and more waste is generated. That's one major reason that why you want to do it at the same time. That's the key thing. Now, second key thing is that when we deliver it to customer at the end of the sprint, we need to say, okay, we took up from the backlog and delivered it in the next sprint. So there is a little time for customer even to think about changing anything. So it took it, delivered it, and reviewed it, it's gone. And customer gets the value quicker. So delivering value quicker is important. So how quickly you do it, so that those two things, reducing waste and delivering quicker. That's why you should do it. And how you do it is good planning, first of all. Second is having what I call generalizing specialists.
Yeah.
So that could be an issue because there are some people who do QA, there are some people who do testing, there are some people who do requirements. That historically, that's how it has been. So I do requirement, pass it on to developer does the coding, pass it on to QA. Now, if that is not the situation, if the same person picked up a story and did it end to end, right from developing the requirements, doing the development, testing. If they did end to end, then they are not passing over. And if they are not passing over, they can, if the stories are small, following the invest, they can finish it.
Right, and there's no handoff, there's no waiting time.
Because handover is another waste.
And there is information that has to be passed over as well, not just, you can test it now. It's like, what is it? How do I test it?
Yes, yeah. And then the issue comes, this requirement was not written in detail, so I did not understand it. Now, if I'm the person who is writing the requirement, I'm the person who is coding it, I'm the person who is testing it, I don't have to put everything in black and white. I can minimize the documentation, which is one of the values of Agile, right?
Not that documentation is not valuable, but in a situation like that, minimizing the documentation can make sense.
Yes, working software is the benchmark.
One of the 12 values from
one of the 12 principles.
Principles, exactly.
Yeah.
From the Agile Manifesto.
Yep.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Okay. Then the fourth one that we have is customers are not involved in development as one of the 5 warning signs that Agile isn't working for us.
Yeah, that sometimes, many times I have seen that customer is still kept outside with the development. They have no even representation.
So no product owner?
Yep.
Oh, really?
Yes. No product owners. So what happens is somebody in the team, technical lead or architect,
becomes the product owner.
Yes. They are nowhere close to the customer.
Yeah.
And that's very true in highly technical organizations, where I'm coaching with one of the very large organizations, and I have seen that the technical architects are the product owners. And there are other coaches working with me in the same company, and all of us are pushing very hard to not to have that. Because if technical architects are the product owner, then actually customer is not represented. So that creates a lot of problems. First of all, you don't know what customer needs.
Exactly. Well, generally speaking, the customer also doesn't know what they need until they see it.
Yes.
But in this situation, if the customer is not involved at all, how are we as the development team supposed to know what the customer wants if there is no customer here?
Yes.
We're basically making it up.
So that is a sign.
Yeah.
If your customer is not involved, then Agile is not going to work for you. The reason is that you don't know what is the value or what customer values. And then the question will come like, okay, we delivered, 20 features and customer is using only 2. So that's a problem.
Yeah.
Like you worked on 18 features that customer even don't care. So that's an issue. So there has to be a customer representation in terms of a right type of product owner. So the product owner, the person who understands the customer, who understands the business,
Okay.
who has authority to prioritize.
Okay. How do we get there in the situation where there is no customer here?
So how do you get there? Probably you need some, coaching. Need some help from an outsider. Have a person. Somebody is normally when organizations transform to Agile, there is someone in the organization who is working as a change leader. They're trying to bring Agile into their organization. So they need to do something about it. They need to, first of all, they may not even understand the sign. So once they understand the sign, then they need to figure it out. How do you bring it? If they cannot, then they need external help to help them out. But they are the change leaders. They need to do that. Team may not be able to do that because, team is just busy doing their work.
It may also be a cultural thing, obviously, in the
Big
company
thing.
that, IT and business, we don't talk.
Yep.
And you have to overcome that.
Yeah. If that is still that barrier or that silo still exists, then that's a sign that Agile is not going to work for you. The customer is not involved.
Yeah. Lastly, Agile isn't visible in the organization. What do we mean by visible?
What do you mean by visible is that maybe there is a small team in the organization is doing it, but you don't see the impact of Agile.
Okay.
So how do you see the impact of Agile in an organization? In terms of, is there a reduction in response time for the customer need? Or is there are you able to release products quicker? Time to market has reduced. Are your customers more engaged? So those are the impacts that are seen. So like time to market, for example, that are you able to bring your new products and services to the market quicker or not?
Realizing the value of Agile.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you were able to bring, products in 6 months earlier, are you able to bring in 2 months? If you are in a service organization, your lead time to respond to customers was 15 days. Now, is that lead time 2 days? No. Those are some of the things that the business, if business is not seeing, then it is not visible. Basically, there may be one team sitting here and there and trying to do some, sprints or, task boards or something like that. But that impact is not seen in the organization. So it's basically the organization as a whole has not adopted.
Embraced Agile. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do we do?
What do we do is, again, somebody who is bringing Agile in the organization has this responsibility to make it more visible. They need to sell Agile to the executives, get support for Agile. And how do you sell Agile to executives? Is find out what is their biggest business problem, and tell them how Agile can solve that business problem. Not that we are here doing iterations or sprints and trying to do software development in increments, or that to the business people, to the executive, they don't really care. They care about business. Are we bringing products faster? Are we reducing lead time? Are we reducing cycle time?
Are we reducing waste?
Are our customers more satisfied and engaged? Are we getting new customers? That's what they worry about. That's what they bother about. That's what they care about. So if Agile is not doing that, then they may not see and they may not support the agile transformation, because there is some investment of time and resources to transform from whatever method they were using to using agile practices, and they need to be on board. So that's something that the change leader in the organization has to do. And if he doesn't know how to do, then go find help wherever he can find help to help him out.
Let me repeat the 5. No signs of value delivery for 3 months. The team resists changes from the customer. Then the team waterfalls their sprints. The customer isn't involved in development. And lastly, Agile isn't visible in the organization. You know, after our conversation, I think a big reason why these may come up is we just don't understand how Agile works. We haven't embraced Agile, the values of it all, and the processes and the methodologies that we're supposed to be using with Agile.
Yeah, and why we should use Agile? Why an organization should use Agile? So that's what business problem Agile is solving. I think that need to be understood. Then there will be full support for bringing in agile practices in the organization. And you'll see a lot of benefits of doing that.
The paper is titled The Top 5 Warning Signs That Agile is Not Working for You. So we've gone through the 5. How many are okay? I mean, is it okay if I have 2 of these warning signs? Is it okay? Are 3? I mean, starting up at 4, everybody probably realizes, no, you really have a problem. Or is it 0?
Zero.
So
Zero.
You cannot have any of these.
No. If you have any of these, you're limiting your benefits from Agile.
Okay.
You will not see benefits from Agile if you have these. So I will say 0.
Okay. So, in conclusion, for our listeners, give us a recommendation. Many of our project managers out there, they are using Agile approaches, and they may be listening to our interview and go, you know what? I never actually thought about it this way. How do they determine whether any of these 5 are problematic for them? And then what do they do next?
Okay. So identifying is very easy. So like first one, no delivery in 3 months. Very easily you can identify.
Yeah.
You started Agile today. Do you see anything delivered to customer in 3 months or not? Very easy to identify. If you have not delivered for 3 months, there is a problem. And then as I discussed to you, what could be the reasons for the problem and how to solve that problem. And seeing that if the changes coming from the customer and team says we cannot take it, or there's too many of these and all those, very easy to know. I think the main thing is there that sometimes we are more into the problem and we don't see these signs.
Take a step back.
Yep.
Should be the first thing to do.
Yep. Take a step back and see if you see any of these signs. Waterfalling sprints is seen as normal.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we can do that. But since you are into it, you feel, we are doing daily stand-ups, we are doing sprints, we are, but then your delivery is like, if it is 3 sprints, 2-week sprints, and you feel doing good. But think about the cycle time for a story. It is 6 weeks, not 2 weeks. Because 2 weeks you did requirement, 2 weeks you did development, 2 weeks you did testing. So it's 6 weeks. It is not 2 weeks. You can bring it down. What happens if you bring down this cycle time to 2 weeks? You will see tremendous benefits, because you are reducing waste in this whole process, and that reduction of waste is phenomenal if you start doing that. So that's what is the key thing is. Just be aware of these 5 signs, and that's the purpose of this paper, that's the purpose of this presentation, is to make people aware that if they see these signs, these are red flags, and they need to take action on these red flags so that they can start seeing benefits of Agile.
Excellent. NK, thank you so much for your time today, for being here and introducing us to these 5 signs.
Thank you very much.